Hello everybody, so today we are headed to Aduana where we will be hopefully extending our temporary import permit, or TIP as it's commonly referred to, and we will take you guys along with us on our journey all the way to Queretaro. We have to go all the way there because there is no Aduana anymore in Morelia. There was apparently years ago, but it's closed, doesn't exist. So we are making the almost 3-hour journey over there. So we are driving from Morelia to Queretaro. Woo, it's a beautiful sunny day. And there isn't traffic.
And no potholes.
Yeah, so it's going pretty great. So we have arrived at the Aduana, which is in the airport, and so when you get here, you're going to see a parking lot, and it can be very complicated because people can give you mixed answers. So you go into here, you pay the man, I think he said it's 26 pesos, and we can park. So we have found our parking spot.
When you first drive in, at least in 2023, right, or at least today, I don't know, it probably changes every day, you're gonna have to talk to one of the guards. So when you see a guard, just talk to the guard and tell them Necesito Aduana, and they're gonna point you in the direction of where you can park your car. We asked 2 separate groups of people. Both people gave us different direction, but the second group of people actually physically opened the gate for us. So they were right with their direction, but the first group of people told us to do something completely different. So I think it depends on the day and the hour and the people who were there. Just like everything else in Mexico, nothing is consistent, and you're going to get a whole bunch of different answers for a lot of different things. So just try to talk to a guard if you see a guard, and if you don't speak Spanish, just try to say Necesito Aduana, and they'll probably start pointing to go park your car somewhere.
And also something I wanted to mention is that we brought our friend Sianja with us. And she's bilingual, so she'll be helping us out.
She helped us find the spot.
Yeah, she helped us find a spot. She helped us talk to the guards. So what did I bring with me on this thing? Well, I brought more than I probably need. And so I'm just going to tell you what I brought. I brought our passports, residency cards, tip, and a copy of the tip, the front page. And I also brought pens. And I also brought copies of our passports, copies of our residency cards, the new ones that we extended for 3 years. And I also probably don't need to bring this, but I also brought our registration, our US car insurance, as well as our Mexican car insurance.
You mentioned marriage certificate?
And I also brought our marriage certificate. And the reason I brought our marriage certificate, you may not need to do this, but I brought it because when we were at the Magellan border, when we got our temporary import permit, the plan was that it was going to be on my name because the car is in my name. But when we got there, because you have to pay in the US, at least in Magellan, at the office, using a Visa or MasterCard, I don't have a Visa or MasterCard in my name. Joe does. So we had to put the tip in his name. That's very important too. When you are getting your tip, you need to use a Visa or MasterCard, and the tip will go on whoever's name is on that card. It doesn't matter if the person's name is not on the registration. And so it's good to have a marriage certificate, because I don't know what we would have done if we didn't have the marriage certificate, because I don't have a Visa or MasterCard, and they didn't seem like they really wanted to budge on that. So when we get in there, we'll tell you what we actually needed, and we'll tell you how it goes. We got out of the parking lot, and now we are walking over to the Aduana building. I just wanted to record this part so you guys can see how you get out of the parking lot. So we did not park there. This
is where we found the guards to help us find where to park.
Yeah, we parked actually over there. You go there and then make a left. That's where we parked. Okay. So remember, I said we didn't park the car over here, but this is how we get into the Aduana. You go in through this one. Looks like this. Okay. This is the Aduana. So you're gonna see these bathrooms, and then you're gonna go to your right, and that's the office, and you walk right in there. You are also not allowed to use your cell phone in the office. Joe got told us after he took the photo. And also, you are not allowed to bribe the person, the official there. So we got out of the office, and that was quite the experience. So first I'm going to tell you what you actually do need to bring with you. So you need to bring your passport, your residency card, and your tip, your temporary import permit. Also, they ask for a copy of our passport and a copy of our residency cards. Now this is really, really, really important because we almost did not get it. This is really important. You need to make sure that your copies of your passport are not bent. Even if the bent part is not on the actual picture of the passport, even if it's just on the paper. Let's say you have your copies and you put in a folder like we did, and it gets bent. Well, she didn't like that.
Treat this like it's a job interview, and you're going to a job interview and they might fire you or not take you for the job. So you're gonna have a hard folder with your papers in it so there's zero wrinkles or anything in it, because they almost turned us away, and you know, for some reason they didn't, and that was very nice, probably because we were all very polite. But something to keep in mind, don't let anything be bent. No. She also was complaining about how there was a staple hole, a hole where a staple used to be, in one of the papers. So that is something that you have to keep in mind also. It has to be a pristine copy of whatever you're bringing. And they didn't tell us on the phone that you needed to bring copies of any of the documents that we brought. We just happened to bring the copies. So if we didn't bring the copies at all, they probably would have told us to leave and go to some kind of a Office Depot or something and make copies. So you need copies, 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 bring extra stuff. And keep in mind, if you're going to a different Aduana, they might want different things. So just bring a whole bunch of stuff and make sure the copies are perfect.
Yeah, that's like the most important piece of advice we can give you. Like I said, we almost didn't get it. She was kind enough. She went back and she made copies of the passports. And another thing, we didn't have this problem, but we fixed it when we re-signed for our residency cards, is make sure, remember, the signature in Mexico is very, very important. So make sure that your passport signature matches your temporary residency card. It needs to match.
Yeah, and all the signatures that you'll sign when you get in there, they have to look like your signature on your passport and your temporary card. And
just on a side note, they were also pretty rude to our friend and the woman, and pretty much like scolding her and saying all this stuff. So we had our friend Sianja come with us. You guys saw her earlier. And so the woman automatically assumed, the woman who worked there at the Aduana, automatically assumed that Sianja was a paid facilitator. And since Sianja's not a paid facilitator, and she's just doing this out of the kindness of her heart to help us, the woman doesn't know that. And she's over here scolding her like, oh, you should have known about the copies, and this is your job, you should be doing it this way, and whatever. So that was just a side note. So that was really bad. Thanks, Sianja, for being so great. Yeah, she's very rude to her. She said she didn't want to see her again. Yeah. And, yeah. But on a good note, if Sianja was a paid facilitator, then she would have did a terrible job in this case, and that woman would be sticking up for us. So if you look at it like that, she seems to care about the clients who come in, even though Sianja's not doing that as a job. So just to go over again, what did we bring with us? Passport, residency card, tip, copy of the front page of the tip, and also, I forgot to mention this before, the original receipt that you used, which we had stapled onto the original tip. And copies that are not folded, it doesn't matter if they're black and white, we had black and white copies, that are not folded, bent, or whatever. They want these in like pristine condition. And then every residency card and your passport, they need to not be bent, in excellent, perfect condition, because like I said, she begrudgingly made the copies. So we did all that. We signed, Joe signed a paper, and Siandra helped us filled out a form for us. There wasn't too much paperwork involved. And then at the end, she gave us papers.
It was a form that said that as long as we have that form and our temporary IDs, we're allowed to keep the car here for the duration of the time that our card is not expired.
And this is really important. She said that we need to not have it bent or folded. Like, we need to also have, so when you get your new tip, make sure it's not folded. So we were keeping ours, for example, in the glove compartment. Well, we're not going to be doing that anymore. Signatures and not having bent paper, that's really important. That's the lesson of the story today.
And no holes in the paper.
And no holes. Yeah. All right, everybody, if you liked this video and you found it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe to see more content like this.